All right, guys, let's check in. Let's talk about tips to manage your mental health throughout the holiday seasons. Now, the holidays can be hard. You add COVID to that, seasonal depression. The list goes on and on. Things can be stressful and often overwhelming. Back again to join us, Dr. Lisa Orbe-Austin. Hey, Lisa, how are you doing with your holiday stress?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm trying to manage it.
All right, so how can we be proactively preventing ourselves from kind of feeling down? What sort of mental cues can we start to follow when the emotional landscape gets a little rocky?
I think it's really important to keep your routines in place. And so if you're used to sleeping at a certain time or managing your nutrition in a particular way or more mindfulness practice or your exercise, keep it all fairly consistent and the same. It can really stave off any kind of rocky moments. I think it's also really important to make sure that your support systems are in place and they're around, whether it's friends, family, your therapist. All of those things should be kind of around and regularly around. And then also tools and resources. Make sure that the tools and resources that you typically use at this time when you feel down are at the ready and you don't have to go looking for them when you need them.
Yeah, a lot of us kind of get often surprised that they feel this way during this time where everyone should, they say, be feeling joyful. So what kind of triggers should people avoid?
Everyone's triggers are different. And so it's really important to recognize what your triggers are. Some people's are family conflict. Others are the exposure to food and what food can trigger. Others are shopping. So it's really important to recognize what your triggers are and what your plan is to either avoid them or to manage them. And it's also important if you're going to remove something, for example, if you're not going to go to a particular family event or think, what are you going to do instead so you don't feel a gigantic void? And that itself causes a feeling of depression or downness.
Okay, and so then what should we do if we do feel this way? What should we understand about why we feel this during the holidays and trying to manage our holiday stress?
There's a lot of expectations around the holidays. People want you to do certain things, behave in certain ways, show up for certain things. And I think it can be really hard. And it's so important to figure out what are your boundaries around this time and how are you going to put them into place? It's really important to be able to, especially I think because of the pandemic and there were so many restrictions during this time, I think there are additional expectations this particular holiday season. And to think about what you need at this moment can be very, very important. And to do that before it all kicks in.
And one of the things you said was mindfulness, meditation, those ways to kind of calm ourselves down. Do you have any tips for being mindful that we can pass along to anyone that might be feeling this kind of stress?
Yeah, I think it's super important to find something that you like. Find a technique or a tool that you like and that you will stay consistent with, because mindfulness is not a one-time use it when you're super stressed out kind of experience. You have to practice it. You have to be consistent and to not be perfectionistic about it. For example, if a mindfulness routine requires 30 minutes, if you only have 10, do the 10. Be compassionate to yourself and allow yourself to have flexibility, but be consistent. Mindfulness routines work best and get the most benefits when you can be consistent with them.
Consistency and flexibility. Remember that during the holidays. Thank you, Dr. Lisa. We'll see you again next week.
You're welcome, Natalie.